There are days when Patriots fans can almost feel Foxborough breathing two things at once: pride and that tight feeling in the chest. Cory Durden sees an open spot and a real chance to become a bigger piece. A possible familiar name splash is stirring up the imagination, and Julian Hill's injury changes the offensive plan while opening a real tight end battle. Stay with me, because today is not just random updates. This is a roster trying to protect Drake Maye and keep the dream alive. Some players get to New England and start making noise right away. Others earn the building from the inside, practice by practice, snap by snap, until the coaching staff looks around and says, "This guy deserves more." Cory Durden is on that second path, and maybe that is why this story matters to anyone who understands what the Patriots are trying to rebuild on defense. The word around Durden after OTA practice was opportunity, and it is easy to see why. Khyiris Tonga left in free agency for the Kansas City Chiefs, opening space on the interior of the defensive line, and Durden, at 27 years old, is looking at that opening as a chance to take a real jump in his career. He said the sky is the limit. But the most powerful part is not the quote, it is how he got here. Durden entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent with the Detroit Lions in 2023, spent time on the Rams practice squad, and then had limited games between the Rams and Giants before landing in New England. Before the 2025 season, he had played in only 8 games in the league. Then came his year with the Patriots, and the whole story changed. 30 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback pressures, an 81.4 pass rush grade from Pro Football Focus, snaps in all 4 playoff games, and 2 quarterback hits. That is not empty promise. That is production showing up when the franchise needed it. When he says he learned he is a good pro, that he can be dominant, that he played 21 football games and showed up in every one, I hear something very specific. Confidence earned through work, not borrowed from hype. Durden said this team rode with him, trusted him, and his confidence is probably the highest it has been since he entered the league. Mike Vrabel did not treat it like some fantasy either. He pointed to Durden as the name that, on paper, comes out of 2025 with that opportunity, while still making it clear that there will be competition in training camp. And that is healthy. Leonard Taylor III, Eric Gregory, Joshua Farmer coming back healthy. All of them are in that fight. Taylor has already flashed in open OTAs too, knocking down passes at the line and pushing pressure into the backfield. What gets me is that the Patriots did not draft a defensive tackle. That tells you something. It does not scream, but it absolutely tells you something. New England is looking at that room and saying, "We believe there is growth in here." Durden believes this group can be one of the best in the NFL. If that belief turns into production, the Patriots defense will not just be filling a vacancy. It will be revealing an identity. Then comes the part that makes fans in New England check their phone twice, because when Scott Zolak starts playing around with information from inside the building, nobody pretends they did not hear it. Especially after A.J. Brown is already in Foxborough, already had his first practice, and the Patriots are still sitting on more than $40 million in cap space for 2026. That changes the way every little hint sounds. Zolak, on Zolak and Bertrand, did not give the name straight up. He talked about a big splash, someone familiar, and Mark Bertrand said fans would go wild. Then came the line that lights up a lot of memories. Do not throw those jerseys away just yet. When you pair that with the talk about lacking depth, the trail starts to point toward wide receiver. And the name being tied to that read is Stefon Diggs, who was recently released. There has to be some emotion in this conversation because Diggs is not any name for Patriots fans. He has already been in New England, he knows the environment, he has recent history with the franchise, and he carries the kind of reputation that splits a debate in 5 seconds. Some people will say, enough! The offense already has A.J. Brown, do not turn the receiver room into a drama series. But there is another side, and I completely get it. If you have Drake Maye, if you are trying to contend at a high level, if you added a star and still have financial room, why would you not explore every chance to increase your margin? Wide receiver depth is not a luxury when the season gets tight. It is survival. Injuries happen, coverage rolls over, defenses adjust, and when January arrives, an offense with only one answer dies early. A.J. Brown raises the ceiling, but a possible Diggs return, if this situation actually gains traction, would change the conversation around options, experience, and pressure on opposing secondaries. I do not see this as a simple move because it is not. There is chemistry, role, competitive ego, money, locker room fit, and the exact place Josh McDaniels would picture for him. But you also cannot act like this kind of hint hits Boston radio and does not move the fan base. If it is a wide receiver, and if it is Diggs, New England would basically be saying one thing to the AFC: we are not building an offense just to improve. We are building one that can become a real problem. This is the news that hurts in a different way, because it is not only about roster depth. It is about protection, offensive planning, trust in Drake Maye, and that bitter feeling of watching a piece built to solve a problem leave the board before the season even really begins. Julian Hill suffered an injury in practice, went to injured reserve, and Mike Vrabel made the situation plain. He will not play this season. And it matters, because the Patriots spent the offseason treating the offensive line like a real priority. After a rough showing in the Super Bowl, the franchise knew it could not put Maye at the center of everything and then ask him to survive on improvisation, taking hits, with no time and no structure. Adding Elijah Vera Tucker to take over at left guard was part of the answer. Jared Wilson sliding over to center fits into that redesign too. Caleb Lomu, Demetrius Crownover, and Reggie Gilliam all add more bodies, blocking, and support. But Hill had a specific value in that puzzle. He was not another tight end on the roster. The idea was to use Julian Hill almost like a physical extension of the offensive line, a player known for blocking, someone who could help on the edges, strengthen heavy packages, and give the offense another layer of protection. For a young quarterback, that changes a lot. Fans sometimes look only at catches, yards, and touchdowns, but a tight end who blocks well can save a play before it ever shows up in a highlight. Vrabel called the situation devastating and awful, and when a coach talks that way about a player who had only been in the building for a short amount of time, you can tell Hill had already earned respect inside the building. It was not just a contract, it was not a plan on paper, it was the impact of his presence, his practice habits and attitude. The Patriots now have Hunter Henry and rookie Eli Raridun as the main names expected for the fall, and that immediately puts pressure on the room. The question for Patriots fans is simple but heavy. Does this loss worry you more because of the blocking, the tight end depth, or the direct impact on Drake Maye? Because to me, that is where the wound opens. New England improved the offense, added talent, changed the line, but the season is reminding everyone early that protecting Maye is not a detail. It is the foundation of everything. The impact of Julian Hill's injury does not end with the injured reserve news. It keeps going into coaching meetings, offensive package planning, the coordinator's mind, and especially the question now floating around Foxborough: who is going to do the dirty work Hill was being prepared to do? That 3-year, $15 million deal was not signed by accident. New England saw him as a physical tight end, a dependable blocker, a player who could give the offense a tougher edge. And Mike Vrabel did not speak about him like a disposable piece. Just the opposite. Vrabel said he wants Julian around as much as possible because he likes the person, the way he practiced, and the impact he made in a short time with his teammates. That makes this loss feel human. It is not just depth disappearing. It is locker room energy the team expected to carry onto the field. But the NFL calendar does not pause for anybody's recovery. So Eli Raridun, the third-round pick out of Notre Dame, suddenly lives in a different reality. Before this, you could picture the rookie easing in, learning the system, and slowly earning snaps. Now, behind Hunter Henry, he becomes the most natural second option at the position. And that is exciting and scary at the same time. Exciting because young talent needs opportunity. Scary because tight end in the NFL, especially inside a Josh McDaniels offense, is not just running pretty routes. It is reads, blocking, adjustments, details, contact, and responsibility. And Raridun has not popped yet in the first 2 open OTAs. That does not bury anybody, of course. OTAs without pads do not decide a career. But once the pads come on in August, the test becomes very real. Inside the roster, C.J. Dupree and Tanner Arkin get new life in this competition. Dupree has the body to help as a blocker. Arkin, an undrafted player, may now see a door that looked far too narrow before. Jack Westover is part of this conversation too, because he already moved from tight end to fullback, played every game on the active roster, and understands the kind of offense McDaniels wants to run. If the Patriots decide to look outside the building, there are veterans on the market. Will Dissly, Pharaoh Brown, who has already been in New England, Nick Vannett, Mercedes Lewis, and John Fitzpatrick. Those are not giant headline names, but they can give you blocking, experience, and a defined role for a lower price. Patriots Nation, tell me in the comments, would you trust the young guys in the reserves or bring in a veteran right away to protect this offense? Because that decision may look small in June, but on third down, when Maye needs half a second more, it can become massive. When you put the whole day together, the feeling is pretty clear. The Patriots are trying to climb a level, but every step forward demands an answer. Durden represents trust in the defensive foundation. The possible familiar name shows New England may not be done attacking the market. Julian Hill's injury hurts because it touches protection, physicality, and stability for Drake Maye. And the tight end battle has turned into an urgent issue, not a depth chart footnote. So comment which story hit you the hardest. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back tomorrow because in Foxborough, every signal is starting to feel like part of a bigger decision.